Welcome to Dark Knight Films Reviews and another action movie night. Tonight, I will be reviewing Superman the movie, released in 1978. Superman the movie stars Marlon Brando, Gene Hackman, Christopher Reeve, Ned Beatty, Jackie Cooper, Glenn Ford, Phyllis Thaxter, Margot Kidder, Jeff East, Valerie Perrine, Susannah York, Marc McClure, Terence Stamp, Jack O'Halloran, Sarah Douglas, Larry Hagman, and Rex Reed. Superman the movie was directed by Richard Donner. Now this one, based on the DC Comics character, very popular, was written by, ironically, one of the screenwriters was Mario Puzo, alongside David and Leslie Newman and Robert Benton. Now you would never associate the writer of The Godfather with writing Superman, the movie. But he did it. He was one of the writers on this, and he wrote the story, the initial story, before going into the screenplay and working with David, Leslie, and Robert. So, this one is a strong film in the superhero series of films, just because it is one of the first, and it's directed by a great director like Richard Donner. Marlon Brando is pretty iconic, playing Jor-El in the opening sequences.
Must be deemed by us an act of insurrection.
You would accuse me of insurrection? Has it now become a crime to cherish life?
Before he and his wife, Susannah York as Laura, send their young son away from their home planet of Krypton to save him before the Krypton is destroyed. I mean, it is a perfect adaptation of what happened in the comics. In most of these movies, whenever they do recreations of these things, they don't nail that shit down very good. They just come up with some shitty-ass version of it. But this really did a good job in adapting that initial way that happened in the comics. And then once you get past Marlon Brando and Susannah York, they're gone. I mean, well, Brando returns a little bit for a few scenes later. But that's it for them playing physically in this film, basically. And they were replaced with some pretty strong actors themselves in Glenn Ford and Phyllis Thaxter, playing Jonathan and Martha Kent, who find the young Superman who crash lands on their little farm in Smallville. And they are great. It is just so cool, this movie, is how you have all these great performances. And most of them are just, you could just consider them an extended cameo in the film. But the way they do it, the way Richard Donner pulls this off, it just works. Jeff East plays the young Clark Kent, who would eventually become Superman. And he does a really good job. I liked him in the younger version of the character of Kal-El, which most people call him Clark Kent, but that's his name, Kal-El, in the film, or in the comics and everything.
And there's one thing I do know, son, and that is you are here for a reason. I don't know whose reason, whatever the reason is.
He was really good playing those younger scenes as the character.
But I do know one thing. It's not to score touchdowns. Huh?
And then we finally get to, I guess, the present day of the film. And Christopher Reeve takes over the role as Clark Kent / Superman. And he is amazing in this thing. The way he goes from the whole...
I didn't mean to shake it up like that.
Oh, well, of course not, Lois. I mean, why would anyone want to make a total stranger look like a fool?
To the commanding...
Is that how a warped brain like yours gets its kicks? By planning the death of innocent people?
His delivery of his lines, even though, you can tell with the face, I mean, it's kind of stupid that the glasses are the only thing that's, making people think that this Clark guy is not Superman, because, I mean, he looks exactly the same. It's not like the Batman thing where he's got a cowl over his face and stuff. But other than that, I mean, you can look past that and at least look at the fact that Christopher Reeve did distinguish between Clark and Superman and made them act differently in those scenes, even though he's a little bit too nerdy in some spots, but it works. It works. And hence the reason why I did this. This is my Clark. This is my Clark. But, and then you have the great Gene Hackman playing Lex Luthor alongside his sidekicks, Ned Beatty as Otis.
Otis, take the gentleman's cape. I don't think he wants me to, Mr. Luthor.
And Valerie Perrine as Eve Tessmacher.
Try twisted.
And the two henchmen characters I really, really like. I think they are fine for what they are given. But Gene Hackman, even though I don't despise him doing a more humorous version of Lex Luthor, I mean, as an actor, I know what this guy can do dramatically. So I'm on the fence about the whole making Lex Luthor a comical character and more funny in there, because he, in the comics, was a serious villain. So, yeah, I wish they had just given Gene Hackman the chance to play him dramatically. And then you have Margot Kidder as Lois Lane. And Margot Kidder and Christopher Reeve have this just natural chemistry together. They just work so well off of each other. This is one of the most perfect romances in a superhero film, to where it doesn't feel forced, it feels real. And because when she's around Clark, she's not looking at Clark and falling in love with Clark. But when she meets Superman, she is totally infatuated and totally in love with him right from the start. And it works, because, I mean, look at him. The man is physically fit. He is just a total badass. So, I mean, this was just a great couple in films. It's one of the best on-screen couples, in my opinion, in film history. Jackie Cooper plays Perry White in this, and he is hilarious.
I want the name of this flying whatchamacallit to go with the Daily Planet like bacon and eggs. Franks and beans, death and taxes, politics and corruption.
And Marc McClure is perfect as Jimmy Olsen.
What are you writing, Miss Lane?
Ode to Spring. How do you spell massacre?
M-A-S-S. A-C-R-E.
R-E. Thank you.
A couple of other roles that I want to take note of is, of course, Terence Stamp, Jack O'Halloran, and Sarah Douglas playing the characters of General Zod, Non, and Ursa. Now, they are only in that opening scene with Marlon Brando as Jor-El, but it sets up a perfect... I mean, if you're going to do a setup, for a movie and set up a sequel, the introduction to those characters at the beginning of Superman the movie was a perfect setup for a part 2.
I swear it! No matter that it takes an eternity, you will bow down before me!
And I will get to that one later. But I love Superman the movie. This is one of Richard Donner's greatest films that he's ever directed, and it's got the most amazing cast in it. I will give Superman the movie from 1978. I will give this film a 10 out of 10 because this movie is the perfect superhero adaptation, in my opinion. Superhero films do not get much better than Superman the movie. The cast is just off the charts. I don't think there's a bad actor in this whole movie. This movie is the best superhero film to come along for a long time. So yeah, what do you guys think? Do you agree with my review? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of Superman the movie? And if you did like this video, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe because it really does help this channel out a lot. Anyway, hope you will join me tomorrow for another video game night. Till then, thank you for watching.